Hello, my name's Jupiter Hadley, and I'm here with Joseph and Kem.
Hello.
Hey, how you going?
And we're doing another episode of What's Indie News. This is the news podcast that has to do with everything in the indie community, specifically the indie gaming community. All right, Joseph, let's start with the news then.
Yeah, we can jump straight into it. No dilly-dallying or faffing about. We're going straight into the news of August 2017. So on the 10th of August 2017, publisher Congregate announces $10 million of fund for indie developers.
It's a lot of money.
Congregate announced that they will be creating a $10 million fund to help developers create games for both PC and console. CEO and co-founder Emily Greer said, "We want to bring great games to gamers around the world, no matter what platform they play on. We started as a web platform for Flash games, expanded into publishing mobile games with great success, and want to continue that momentum for both PC and console publishing. We want indie developers to know that we will support them on any platform they choose to launch their games on, and we will work with them to identify which platforms and audiences will be the best fit." So that's kind of nice. It's if you're an indie developer looking for some avenue of funding, then it'd be really good to have a look at what Congregate's offering at the moment.
It's really weird because I still remember them as that web platform for Flash games. So it's just like all these fun little games, and then here's $10 million.
Yeah. And on the same day of the 10th of August 2017, Microsoft's simplified self-publishing program is now open to all game devs. So Microsoft has opened up its simplified self-publishing initiative to the game dev community at large. The Xbox Live Creators Program gives developers the ability to publish games to the Xbox One and the Windows 10 store pages with only a simplified certification process and without the need for a dedicated dev kit or concept approval ahead of time. It is worth noting that Creators Program titles don't have access to the full suite of Xbox Live features. In order to include achievements, gamer score, or online multiplayer in a game, developers will have to switch over to Microsoft's existing ID at Xbox program.
Yeah, this seems big, to be honest. I've heard horror stories about getting certified for platforms in the past, about how long it can take and all the hoops you have to jump through.
Yeah, and this is good for people trying to get an entry point, really, and a test. It's almost like a test to see how well your games will be received on those platforms.
Yeah, especially like you say, the first time round where you're trying to get your first game up there. Certainly this will make it a lot less daunting, probably encourage a lot of people to actually do it that might not have done it otherwise.
Yeah, I imagine the reason for it stopping people getting achievements and gamer score and stuff for indie dev games is kind of a similar reason why Steam seems to be influxed with games that have trading cards. Because you don't want to be having lots of people gaining like thousands of gamer score because they spent 20p on a game that gives them 1,000 gamer score. Because I imagine a lot of Xbox users have a lot of attachment to their gamer score. I know I did, and so being able to use it and not have some sort of system where it can be abused is probably the reason why they're limiting gamer score. And then online multiplayer, it's interesting why they've not allowed that, but maybe there is some, not just kind of bureaucracy, but also technical limits and technical problems that could come about from just having people very easily put their games up, and then Xbox has to deal with all these online interactions. For those who don't know what ID is, it's the Xbox's / Microsoft's original indie development program for the Xbox, which was released. I remember it being not even released, announced. I remember it being announced at an E3 a few years ago, but I don't know how many years ago it was now. And it's basically the first step that Microsoft took towards allowing indie developers to build games for their consoles, and I think Guacamelee and a few others have managed to become successful on those platforms because of this program. Do you wanna talk about the next one, Jupiter, since you're our main source?
Right. So Remy Ishmael, the co-founder of the indie studio Vlambeer, who made Nuclear Throne, and Luster Trusters, announced a new initiative called the PlayGround. From his announcement post, it said, the PlayGround is a pilot, a way for us 4 crews of friends that run mid-sized game studios to work together and do bigger, more interesting things at shows than we could possibly hope to achieve apart. Lambert, combined with the whimsical and personal and lovely tones of Finji, the clever and challenging experiences of Dan Aldman's collection of games, and the high-quality merchandise services of IndieBox, hopes that we can create a location at PAX and other showcases that is not tied to anything but the friendship of a group of creators that admires each other's work. We're not sure where it's going to end up or how it's going to evolve, but we do know we look forward to seeing what we can achieve together. If things pan out, we'll bring the PlayGround to future shows, growing it and hopefully figuring out ways to combine our strengths as creators into unique and fun experiences at the shows we bring to you. If you're visiting PAX West, do come visit us at booth number 6111 and come say hi. Now, I've gone to a lot of events, so there are lots of different events, lots of different prices. And one of the events that all of us have been to in this podcast is like EGX and EGX Res, where they have a tentacle booth, and the tentacle booth is still like £600. It's £500 plus VAT to have like your game there. So booths, they can range anywhere from being like a couple £100 to thousands of pounds. So this initiative that Rami's like heading, I should say, is really great. It's really great that people are going to be able to go to events because of PlayGround. They're going to be able to showcase their games. There are some events, don't get me wrong, that you can do for free. We're running one in London. By we, I mean I'm helping out run one in London called Indies Unplayed, which is in October, and you can showcase your game there for free. And there's other little events that you can showcase your game for free, and there's also areas at big events that you can showcase your game for free. There are some events that are way more than just £500 or £600, like GamesCom was £2,000 after you put in like expenses and everything, one of our friends had said, just to be a part of it, and they're definitely worth it. There are some free events, and there are some free spaces at bigger events, so Left Field, for example, at EGX and EGX Res, that's like a highly competitive space, but it is a free place that you can showcase your game, and you don't even have to be there to showcase your game, which is the interesting thing about Left Field, because most gaming events, like even if they give you a free space, you have to set up, you have to demo your game. However, Left Field doesn't require that, so if you as a developer don't have enough money to go to the event or just don't want to do the expenses, they'll set up the posters for you, they'll set up your stand, and they'll just run without you having to be there, which is just a really nice way of doing it. But yeah, so events are a very big part of showcasing your game, in my opinion. You can use them for so many different ways. You can get feedback. You can just get your game out there. It's a great thing to, do and spend time in. And I understand that for some littler devs, it's hard. So I'm hoping that with what the PlayGround is doing, it'll be more accessible to showcase games, and then I can see them more, because I go to lots of events. I didn't go to PAX West, but I go to lots of events, and I just love seeing indie games, and I love just getting to meet the developers behind them and really enjoy seeing these sort of games. And from the looks of it, the PlayGround stand had some really high quality indie games as well, which is always super nice to see them getting out there and being a part of events.
Yeah, it seems good for indies to sort of get together and arrange these things. Because, I mean, obviously a lot of what they do is, in a way, piggybacking on the back of AAA initiatives that won't necessarily work for indies. Like Steam, for example. You can get on Steam, but Steam only really cares about people that bring in the big money. And again, the events, exactly this case, you can buy a booth for an event, but it makes no sense for indies because it costs so much.
Yeah.
If you are a dev and you want to showcase at events, I'd suggest looking for meetups and little places that you can showcase your events at. If you're in London, get in touch with me, and I know lots of little events that you could probably showcase your game at, or that you could register to have your game showcased at. But yeah, no, I think it's great that indies go and are a part of events, and I love it. I love attending events, I love meeting indies, I love seeing indies, I love playing their games in front of them, I like watching them grow. It's a great experience. If you're an indie and you haven't shown at an event, see if there's any events local to you. There's tons of free ones. here in London, we're running an event. I'm going to plug my own event. Here in London, we're running an event called Indies on Play. It's going to be in October, coinciding with MCM Comic Con, and it's going to be at the Loathing Bar, Stratford. And basically, they're just looking for indie games to highlight and showcase. It's at Loathing's Secret Weapon on the 29th of October to coincide with MCM Comic Con London, and any type of game can be submitted. We're looking to pick a limited amount, but it should be really fun, and hopefully some people come down and play your game. It'll be a nice little event that you can join into. I'll be there. I'll be floating around, playing the games, drinking. It'll be great.
Alcohol and games, that's what you want in an event.
Yeah, it's a gaming themed bar. I don't know if you've ever gone. And off the record, they're going to be making cocktails that are themed after some of the games that get chosen.
What?
Oh, nice.
So that's going to be really cool.
That is cool.
The 29th of October.
Alright, should we go on to the next topic?
Yes.
This is a topic I've been really interested in talking about. So, developers Acid Wizard release Darkwood as a torrent for people to download for free. So, developers Acid Wizard Studio decided to release a torrent for their top-down survival horror game Darkwood. If you haven't heard of Darkwood, I think it came out this month, and I think it's H.R. Geiger themed survival horror. So very much kind of like the Aliens theme and look. If you think of like Prometheus inside the alien ships, it looks very much similar to that. And so Acid Wizard was saying that they're happy to have more people talking about their game, but too often keys they give out to people claiming to be YouTubers or for giveaways end up being sold on storefronts like G2A. To be honest, we're fed up with it, said the developer. This practice makes it impossible for us to do any giveaways or send keys to people who actually don't have the money to play Darkwood. When we read the explanation from someone who wrote that he needed the refund because he didn't want his parents to be stressed out when seeing the bill at the end of the month, it made us feel quite bad. So that's when Acid Wizard decided to launch their own torrent with the message of, if you don't have the money and want to play the game, you don't have to worry about a potential virus being hidden away. And unlike some games that combat piracy by introducing bugs, glitches and performance issues into pirated versions, there's nothing different about this version of Darkwood. So they've basically, what a lot of people have been saying is pirated their own game, but it's not really pirating your own property. They've released a free version for people to download and to torrent because they were pretty much sick of their keys being given away on questionable storefronts like G2A.
It's a shame that happens to keys. It's a shame that that's a thing that goes on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess G2A is a whole other conversation, but I can assume we're probably all in a similar mind about them.
Yeah, I think so. I think most people are really.
But I do think it's really nice that people are allowing people who can't afford games to have them. I've seen it be a bit of a trend with some other indie games and some other indie developers that I've seen that have been like, hey, if you can't afford a copy of my game, email me. And I think that that's really nice because games, for a lot of people, are a way of escaping sort of the issues that you have in the real world and having access to different games, and especially games that provide a lot of content that are worth money. Not saying games that are free aren't worth money, but like games that have a paywall that are like really, really polished and well made. It's nice that some of them are being given out for free for people who can't afford it. Well, that's something I can get behind.
Yeah, and as such, so it's currently 94% on Steam with 1,300 reviews, and most of them are giving their support and saying that they bought the game because of what the devs did, which is actually really nice as well. It's nice that the community's kind of come in and said, yeah, we support this and we hope this goes well.
I support it. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry, I was going to can't even speak now. Just going to say, reputation is a big thing in the indie community.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially between consumers and developers. I think more and more as the industry grows, it's becoming more and more relevant. Not relevant, more important that indie studios and customers have a good repertoire, a good conversation going. And so speaking of games that actually came out this month, should we move on to let's move on to the indie releases.
Awesome. I'll start.
Segue.
Let me start. Can I start? Can I start?
Yeah, you can start.
Awesome. Yeah, so hey, I've got indie games to talk about. Awesome. Great. The first one I want to talk about is Heart Papers Border. It just came out in early access on Steam. I know the developer of the game, and I've seen the game grow, and it's like a super positive look on the world, and that's how I'm going to describe it. It's described on Steam as an optimistic strategy game about traveling, freedom, and changing the world. And basically, you're a blogger, and you want to be a travel blogger, so you start traveling to different places around the world to unlock sort of hashtags and different content that you can create around traveling there. But you have to deal with visas like you would in the real world, and you have to deal with, paperwork and time limits and political issues, but very loose political issues. So it's just like some areas you can't go to because, it's not a good space to go to. But you decide as you gain followers, as you gain traction, that you want to change the situation and you want things to be different and there not to be all of these restrictions through traveling through to different lands. You want to be free to do what you want to do. And you can start toning the way that you travel toward, like what you post about towards changing the world. And it's in very early stages. It's a bit buggy at the moment, and a lot of the features aren't quite implemented, but it's so adorable looking. It's such a great concept, and the development people behind it, they're amazing individuals, and I'm so excited about this game. I first saw it right after dealing with major visa stuff. And it was sort of phrased in a way that, like, yeah, paperwork visa fucking sucks. Imagine if we could change this. I'm all for being able to travel and being able to do, explore different parts of the world freely and without having to go through so much bureaucracy. But yeah. So I'm really excited for the game. I've played a bit of it. It's currently £5.59. I think it's a steal. You can watch the development of it. It may not be quite much yet, but I think it's going great places. I really do.
I really love the style. And I've literally just put it on my wish list. Like the style, and I do like strategy. Would you say it's grand strategy? Optimistic strategy game about traveling, freedom, change the world. Yeah, it sounds really cool. I've used something interesting to look at, because strategy games are all about conquering and stuff, whereas this one seems not about conquering. No.
And it is, I'm going to stress this, it is like a proof of concept. This is such an early build, like probably teetering over it shouldn't quite be on early access. And they've said that. They've said it's so not ready to be here, but we have to. But I think that if you stick with it, I believe so much in this development team. I believe so much in the idea behind it. I believe so much in this game. I think in the end you'll be happy with the result. That's my stance on it.
So very, very much a game after your own heart, then.
It is a game after my own heart, and I'm very happy I discovered it. Moving on to another game after my own heart, because so many good games came out this month. The Wolf's Bite came out this month. So The Wolf's Bite is a 1v1 choose-your-own-adventure game with an entrepreneur fairy tale twist, inspired by stories such as The Three Little Pigs and The Stinky Cheese Man and other fairly stupid tales. The game revolves around thwarting the other player while ensuring your business thrives. So this is another adorable game. I played it for the first time at bonus stage, where it was more of a proof of concept, but now it's a fully fleshed out game. And basically it's 2 players can play. You can also play single player against a bot, which works very well. And one of you chooses to be the wolf and one of you chooses to be the pigs. I've always chosen to be the wolf, so I know the wolf's point of view. The wolf's trying to open up a restaurant. And he wants to open up, the wolf, I guess it doesn't really have a gender, wants to open up this restaurant, and the 3 little pigs want to stop it. They're not happy with the wolf, they're upset, obviously, and the wolf had just had a failed construction business. So the wolf's all into sort of just making this restaurant. And each turn, you get to pick a location to go to, and there's various activities that you can do at this location. So one of them is like the barn, which is a bar, so it's like the bar. And there you can like serve cocktails if you're the wolf, or you can like, there's different options. There's always two. So you can serve cocktails, or you can like dance. And if you dance, you might get higher reputation, but then an event will happen. So when the event happens, you have to choose how you respond to the event, and then that'll change your reputation or your cash. And your goal as a wolf is to get your restaurant to a high enough reputation that you're like super successful. Whereas the pigs can do stuff like learn magic and like do smear campaigns against you and run for office to like bring up the taxes on your food and stuff like that. So you have a harder time, and their job is to basically ruin your business. And I just think it's such a fun little game, and it's adorable. And at the end of each day, so after the end of 2 turns, you sort of get like a Daily Wolf newspaper thing that tells you how the food business is coming along or what's happening to the pigs. And it's just so well made, and it's really funny as well. It's got lots of little funny twists to what's going on. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It looks gorgeous. I'm reading some of the reviews, and pretty much all of them are extremely positive. My favorite review is, apparently it's a bit insensitive to serve steak and eggs to Humpty Dumpty.
So you get to decide, like that's probably an event when you're like cooking at your restaurant, what you want to serve to them.
Yeah, and it's cool that the one of the reviews saying that, you know, the wolf's kind of like the good guy in this one.
Well, he is.
The pigs are like the pigs are like vandalizing.
And they hang out with like the Porkers gang, and the Porkers gang have like a bad reputation and stuff.
That is too precious. I like it. I really like it.
Oh, this is such a good game.
And also, they even have the artist's name here as well. So.
And you can follow Karen on Bitmoo on Twitter, and she posts beautiful artwork. I've met her, and she's super kind. She was the one showing off the game at bonus stage, which was nearby to me. So yeah.
Oh really?
Yes.
You read my mind. I was literally just about to follow her.
Well, you should. I love the art style. I really do. I'm really liking local multiplayers lately. I'm really enjoying playing games with friends. And this game is £5.59 normally, but currently it's 20% off, 25% off at £4.19. Pence, whatever. English money. Kemp, do you want to talk about the next one?
I can. It's Localhost. So this came out last week, thereabouts. And basically you play a technician, basically pretty much your first day at work. You get given a bunch of hard drives and you're told to erase them. You find out that each hard drive has a different AI on, and you basically have to convince them to let you delete them. And there's a bunch of twists in there about like who the AI is. Like, it feels weird saying who they are, but yeah. And basically they try to convince you not to delete them, of course. And you have that moral decision of do you believe that the AIs are alive, and if you do, can you really delete them? But also you've got this job to do, and it's your first day there, so maybe there's something else going on where they're just really, really good at pretending to be human. You don't know what capabilities they have anyway. So yeah, there's the whole moral decision, and I've had a playthrough, and it's actually pretty fun. It's I believe it was written in Twine, which I honestly can't believe, because it's the fact that could be done in Twine is amazing to me.
It's pretty fun convincing AIs to kill themselves.
I'm very intrigued.
And there's 4 of them there with very different personalities, and you sort of have to go from one to the other, and their stories sort of intertwine, and you find out things about the other ones from them. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
I've heard a lot of really good things about it, and it looks super, super interesting. Very cyberpunk dystopian sort of vibe from the screenshots.
Very creepy.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, gameplay-wise, it doesn't share much with it, but the first thing I thought of when I heard the description was Soma, assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. 'Cause it's got that similar sort of what is life, I guess, is the overarching sort of theme to it.
And this game is $4.99 over on itch.
Alright, probably going to go very quickly through because, well, especially this one, everyone's heard of this one. So this is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Reason
I haven't heard of it.
I wanted to include it.
Tell me about it.
I know. It's made by Ninja Theory, who are calling this a AAA indie game. So they've self-published and obviously developed it, but it's got the real look and feel of a AAA game without the AAA price tag, as they like to say. It's at £24.99. I think it's $30 in the US, and it is a game. It is a 3D fighting game about a Celtic warrior embarking on a haunting vision quest into Viking hell to fight for the soul of her dead lover. And so she has she has schizophrenia, and they did lots of research on symptoms of schizophrenia, spoke to people with schizophrenia, and they essentially kind of wove that into their mechanics. I think I'm really looking forward to getting it. I'm not got it yet, but I'm extremely excited to get it, and I think everyone may have already heard of it already, but if you haven't, I'd definitely give it a check.
I don't know. I wonder how it works. Mental health in games can go so wrong so fast.
Yeah.
So wrong.
Yeah, it seems to have done really well with it.
I hope it does. I haven't played it. I haven't looked into it much. I really hope it does. It sounds like they did their background work, so that's good. But yeah, I just hope it does. It looks intense. Graphics look beautiful. Cool game. Cool game.
Alright, who wants? Is it yours, the next one?
I think it's Kemp's box game.
I don't know. You said you like that one as well. So box game is Sophie Holden. I believe it's one of her older games. So she started going through and updating old games to a modern version of Unity and re-releasing them so they can actually still be played. And basically, it's I'm sort of at a disadvantage here because I haven't played it myself. But from the screenshots, it looks quite fun. So you're on the surface of a box solving puzzles. Have you two seen it at all?
No.
I've seen a bit of it. Just looking at screenshots, I haven't played it, and I know that it used to be a Unity web player only game.
Yeah.
So you couldn't play it anymore, but now it's a download, so you can.
Yeah. So this is sort of the first one of she's going to go through and update all of her old ones so that they're playable again.
They're no longer lost.
Because obviously the web player is just gone and took a lot of things with it.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine porting it to modern Unity is easy, given what I hear every time someone upgrades even a minor version. But yeah, so basically the levels are assembled from boxes, and you're just going around on the surface of it trying to get to the exit is the very quick version. It's very, I guess, minimalist sort of graphics. Mostly things are in shades of grey. There's some red and green in there for colour purposes, but it just looks like quite a neat little game.
I agree, and it's very nice that she's going through all of this effort to put her games back up so that they're not like lost in the abyss almost.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I haven't played it yet, but the main reason I wanted to highlight it was because that's what she's doing, and it seems like a really nice thing for her to do, basically.
And I very much get sad when I see games that I want to play and I click on them or I click on links to them and it's just oh, they're not there anymore.
Aww.
So
yeah,
they're gone. It happens a lot of my like gem favorites, especially for gems like the Ludum Dare that don't host on their own site. I'll go back to Ludum Dare like before the next one to write about my favorites of the last one, and I'll find that a majority are just dead Dropbox links with no other information, so there's no way for me even to find the developer and go, hey, your game's gone, and I loved it. It was my favorite, and it's gone. So I'm glad she's doing that.
Yeah, there was that rather, I guess now it's annoying phase of things being uploaded to Dropbox, wasn't there?
Before it, really.
I don't understand why people still upload to Dropbox. But moving on. Another game I wanted to talk about was Luminous Corridor 0. So this looks like a very retro-looking, sort of hectic game. It features local 2-player co-op, which I was excited about in reading it. It says the Psi crystal has been stolen. A pall of evil hangs over the realm. Use your powerful psionic powers and rippling muscles to reclaim the crystals. Guide your character through endless waves of monsters in this finely balanced twin-stick shooter. This new entry in the series features loads of stuff. So I was reading it off its itch page. It's a completely free game by Lauren Schmidt. I'm going to say her last name wrong. But it looks really, really fun. It looks like tons of shooting, tons of avoiding enemies, tons of being awesome. So, yeah.
It's a very colourful game, I guess. Is that the old XGA palette or some such?
I have no idea what the words you were saying mean. But yeah, like maybe.
But it's like using the old palette, but, on a modern engine with modern physics.
Yeah, like it looks like a retro game, but quite fast-paced and quite responsive.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah, it's always really good. And I just like the look of it.
I do as well.
It looks like a game I will definitely be checking out.
I'll download that too, actually.
It's also got some accessibility features that include reduced flickering and reduced color cycling, so you can control, because it is a chaotic game with a lot happening, you can control how intense it is visually, and that's something I really appreciate in games, because my eyes, probably due to doing so much on computers or whatever, my eyes are very sensitive to flashes that happen quickly, especially in games that flash quickly. It really hurts my head, it really hurts my face. So I like having the option to sort of turn stuff down when I'm not feeling it. And I know it's a very good thing to have for accessibility to people who are even worse than me when it comes to just flashing and colors.
Making games more accessible is always positive.
It is.
Do it.
If you have time, the resources and the money, do it. I'll talk about next on the list. To be honest, I know of these games and I've heard great things about them, but I've only played one of the next 3 games that I'm about to recommend. First one is West of Loathing, which is a slapstick comedy stick figure Wild West adventure role-playing game. It looks, I don't know, it reminds me of like children's books almost.
It reminds me of Flash games.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I really like about it, because I remember I used to play Stick RPG back in the old days.
I played Stick RPG as well.
I know, it was so good. And looking at this, I'm like, I kind of want to jump back on it, and it's done really well on Steam, as far as I can tell. It's been overwhelmingly positive with quite a hefty number of reviews, and it's got a lot of exposure. So I thought if you haven't heard of it, you should probably jump on it.
Yeah, there was a few days of my Twitter feed being largely comprised of screenshots of dialogue from it for a while. So.
Did I miss it? Was I at GamesCom for this? Because I've not even seen it.
Might have been.
Did it? Might have been, actually. When did it come out? No, it came out 10th of August.
Where was my Twitter feed?
What else happened on 10th of August? Maybe they were all talking about the Congregate story.
I have no idea. This game looks really fun. I like the fact that there's demon cows. That interests me. It looks like stick figures in the Wild Wild West.
God, you have crazy amounts of inventory and stats and stuff. But they all look quite silly and fun.
Everything looks silly and fun. The images of I am a pope written on a wall, then after that, seriously. It's just, I don't know. It seems like a very silly, fun game. And it's £7.99 over on Steam.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad for a game. Well, the next one actually is free, called Dead Horizon, which is a very, 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 very short, I think most people have been saying it's about 15 minutes point and click. but everyone has been ranting and raving about it, and I've not had the time to jump on it, but I really want to.
Who doesn't have 15 minutes?
I don't. I really don't.
Oh.
I will soon. So I'll give you a brief description from the Steam page. Dead Horizon is a short and dirty point-and-click adventure game for your home computer system. Play as Bonnie Starr, a former farm girl turned infamous pistolier. She attempts to gain redemption at the end of a gun. Dead Horizon is inspired by the light gun games of old. No, not Area 51, Time Crisis, or Virtua Cop. The real old ones, like the original Wild Gunmen, Namco, Quick and Crash, and Mad Dog McCree. This game was inspired by those and the developers' own fascination with westerns and their machismo focused storylines on masculinity, murder, and guns. This game has all those things and more, and it's 100% free and very, very short. So if you...
I like the style of it as well. It's got very nice pixel art.
Yeah, and they did 4x3 on purpose. So you have to play in 4x3. I don't know if that was going to upset anyone. Yeah, exactly. I quite like that. Especially because I didn't really... I kind of almost... I was there for a bit of the 4x3 period, but not like SNES or anything like that. So I really want to have a go at it.
Alright, so the next game?
The last one is Subsurface Circular, made by Mike Bithell, who made Thomas Was Alone and Volume. And I say made, his company made them, but he was the designer. And Subsurface Circular was a game made, I think, in about 6 or 8 months. I can't remember. And
very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. And it's a it's basically it's literally a text-based adventure game, really, but with some really cool graphics and an interesting dialogue system and a very interesting theme that it covers on. It looks at the relationship between humans and AI as AI become more intelligent, and is actually a sequel to Thomas Was Alone. And so if you played Thomas Was Alone, then you know what happened at the end. This is kind of the follower on from that and what's happened afterwards. Yeah, it's cool. I'd recommend it. It's £4.79, like not that expensive, and I managed to finish it after about 3 or 4 hours. But they have a commentary mode which you can play.
I love dev commentary.
I know, it's really cool, and the way they put it in as well is really cool. So I would definitely give it a recommendation from my experience.
So this was the game that he sort of didn't say anything about, said, hey, I'll have a surprise, and then dropped the game. It was like, bye. So it was a big surprise from Bithell, and it had no marketing ahead of time other than his one tweet once it was out, and everyone ate it up. So it's quite an interesting marketing.
It's basically how to do publicity if everyone knows you.
Yeah.
Exactly. I only saw it because I saw it in popular new releases and thought that it was an interesting name and logo, and clicked it, and it was like, oh, it's from people who made Thomas Was Alone, and I was like, okay, that's probably one of my favorite stories in a game of all time. So let's see what this is.
So Jupiter, I believe you've been to GamesCom.
I've been to GamesCom. I have tons of games to talk about that aren't quite out yet, but I played them at GamesCom and I'm really excited about them, and you should go and check out the developers and follow the development and play the games when they're out. I went to GamesCom. GamesCom is an event in Germany. It's huge. It's sort of like E3. It's far too big for the little likes of me. Quite a large amount of it is AAA games. I played one AAA game while I was there. I spent the rest of the time trying to stay awake and also in the business area and the indie area. And I have lots and lots of favorites, so I've picked out some to talk to you guys about. So, the first game, and the game that sticks out in my head, so you're going to hear a lot of gushing about games that aren't out yet, is Solo. And Solo is my favorite game of the event, I'm pretty sure. It is a puzzle game that asks you about your love life in a very interesting and compelling way. So you start the game, and it doesn't ask you what gender it is. It says which person would you like to be, and you can pick a feminine-looking person, a masculine-looking person, or someone who looks kind of in between. And then it says if you had a lover, which one would they be, and you get to pick a person who's your lover. And then it starts asking you sort of intimate questions, and it's stuff like, do you feel that you should only have one partner for life? And then you can answer, yes, I believe that the person you're with, you're going to be soulmates with forever. I'm happy in my relationship, but I might like to explore something in the future. No, I feel like you need to love multiple people. Just lots of options. And you pick your options, and then you go and play your game. And the game's beautiful. It's a breathtaking world that you walk around, you solve little puzzles. You're this adorable little person who can go through and interact with these adorable creatures. And there's turtles, and there's little puffer blowfish that pop up on the water and look at you, and they're so cute. And you solve puzzles. You can move blocks around and use various tools to sort of make things happen. You have a parachute to glide, and you basically just need to light up these lighthouses to open up new water islands. They're like islands on water. I don't know why I said water islands. New islands that you can then explore. But while you're exploring, you start to see sort of ghosts or sort of like holograms of your lover doing various activities, and you can go do those activities like drink from a fountain. But you start to find letters from your lover. And so you start to see messages left from your lover, and their reactions to the questions that you answered, the deeply personal questions that you answered, which are definitely topics that you should probably discuss with your lover. But I was just very blindsided by the fact that my lover reacted to this by leaving a diary page that I then picked up and read. And they weren't happy with my answers. And to be fair, I did pick some answers that I don't honestly believe. I picked like extremes, but just hearing or reading how heartbroken your lover is over these decisions that you've made. And it was just such a beautiful experience. I really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, I love story. I just love story in games. I love games that make you think. And visually, it is gorgeous.
It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that's probably my favorite game of the show.
Unlucky for the next one's coming up. Nah, joking.
But I did love lots of games there. I'm going to move swiftly on to the next one, which is not so heavy. It's called Russian Subway Dogs. I've seen Russian Subway Dogs on #IndieDevHour. I've seen screenshots of it. I thought I'm going to play this game someday and love it. And guess what? I played this game and loved it. You are a little dog in Moscow, and you're in a subway, and you're hungry because you're a dog and you're a stray, and you kind of bark behind humans, and then they throw their food in the air, and then you eat their food, but some of them have vodka, and if you bark behind a human with vodka, they throw their vodka, which can explode, and that can harm you, or hopefully harm other dogs, and then the other dogs won't eat your food. You can combo up the food that you eat in the air, and get more points, but basically you have to keep yourself fed. It's described as a fast-paced action arcade game inspired by the real-life stray dogs of the Moscow Metro. We have done extensive, totally legal research in order to fine-tune this chaotic simulation of what it's like to scavenge for food from the Russian commuters. Surviving isn't easy when you are dodging volatile vodka, rival dogs, and the rare and dangerous subway bear. And it's just beautiful. It's beautiful graphic style. It's a fun, simple, easy to pick up game, and it's very much one more-ish. I found myself going, well, just one more go. And I really enjoyed it.
Is this a local multiplayer one?
Is it local multiplayer? I don't know if it's local multiplayer. I played single player.
Oh, okay. I was assuming the other dogs would be human-controlled.
No, they're like dogs that come off the subway and just are bots. They try to take your food. They're assholes.
Okay.
They've got a lot of dogs that are, and a lot of critters, I should say, that you can unlock, including Rad Shiba from Valhalla, and some cats and stuff as well.
I saw the dog from the meme that everything is fine. When everything is on fire.
Yeah, he's in there as well.
I'm surprised they didn't put Doge in.
This is just the start. There's more coming.
Oh, okay. I want Lassie in. That's what I want.
All the dogs.
I want my dog in it. Just put my dog in. Developers.
Email that back up. Put in Joseph's dog. He's worth it.
Put Baxter in. He's great.
Put my bird in it. Pretend he's a dog. Put all the animals in it.
I want every animal in there, and if it's not, then I'm going to be so mad.
Moving on to another game I really loved. This game could have been my favorite, but the publishers were very kind and noticed that I was press, I guess, and wanted to show the game to me. And in showing the game, they kind of guided my experience very harshly down the exact path you take in the game. And I didn't want to go down that path, so I felt kind of rushed through it, and I wish I got to play it longer. But it's called Away, Journey to the Unexpected. It's described as a colorful first-person adventure game that combines action, negotiation, and roguelike elements. Process through the levels in the story, choose your path, and above all, recruit allies. All the strange characters you meet in the game can be played in first person, and it's up to you to find the right answers to get them to join your team. Idiotic workmen, mysteries from outer space, oddball friends, and fast combat awaits. So in this game, you play a little boy wielding a stick, and you get to go through this world that's very, very well made. It's very beautiful, and you get to sort of convince people to join your little team, and then you can play them because you're not very strong. And the first person in the demo that I played that you get to convince is an older gentleman who has eyesight issues, so he's got huge cracks on his glasses, so when you play him you can't see in those areas, and he shoots fire through his staff, which is a super powerful attack. And you basically explore around dungeons collecting various coins or coin-like objects and unlocking power supplies. I'm not really sure why, because I felt kind of rushed through it, but I really enjoyed just small details in it, like you put in your name and then you explore your house after you've like entered your name in the game, and your name's totally drawn on a chalkboard on the wall with your little picture underneath it. And there's just so many cute little details I really enjoyed. In the game itself, I like switching between the first person player and dealing with their sort of pros and cons to each one.
That's pretty cool. I like little touches like the name thing.
Yeah, it's so cute. Very adorable game.
Yeah, the style's very interesting. It's interesting to see the mix of 3D and 3D
yes
environments and 2D animation.
And see, I didn't think I was going to like that, because I hate when graphics don't make sense and they're so different. But I didn't mind, so.
Looking at the screenshots, they look less impressive, but like looking at the actual animations along with the environment, it all looks really good. It's cohesive in its feel. So it looks really cool. Looks almost reminds me of like a super colorful anime Skyrim.
Yes, super colorful anime Skyrim.
That's probably very good. That should be the tagline of any game. I'd buy it. I'd buy it immediately.
You should buy it. You should follow it and buy it when it's available. I'll buy it.
Does it have a release date? Or is it just
available 2017?
2017.
Done. 2017.
It's coming out today.
Who knows? Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, 2017. You can follow the devs on Twitter, though. All links will be in the description to all of these. But yeah, that leads into Striker's Edge. Striker's Edge is local multiplayer, but you can play it single player through a storyline, and it's described as dodge brawl with weapons and ancient warriors. Now, there are like 8 different characters you can choose from, each with different abilities and different weapons, and each beautifully pixelated and animated very well. Everyone has an attack and a charged attack. The charged attack that I played when I played the game, I played a bow and arrow woman, and she had an arrow that you could charge up, and then it went really fast across and left a line, which you could then light on fire, like a little line of something in the environment. And the person I played against was the developer, and he played a shield-wielding person who could throw out his shield, and if he charged, he could throw it out and it'd ricochet. This game was super fast-paced, super fun, dodgeball but you die. I really, really enjoyed the environments that you could play in. I didn't know much about the story mode because I was mainly talking to the developers about themselves. But it also has really interesting Twitch integration. So if I was a Twitch streamer and I was streaming this game on Twitch, the people in chat could be the names of the people in the audience. And then the people in the audience, like they watch you. I just thought that was a really nice aspect of it. And the people in the audience are protected by these warriors that push you back into the battle. So if you get too close to the people in the audience, they push you, and that can sometimes cause problems. But yeah, it's just a really neat way to do things, I think.
Also, what you were saying about the animations, they're gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous.
It's just, I'm glad you brought this into my life.
You're welcome. Come play against me. I'll kick your ass.
Oh. I'd like to see you try.
It'll have an online multiplayer, so I can play against you online. You can play 1v1 or 2v2.
Well, we'll see how it goes then.
Yeah, in my experience, never challenge Jupiter.
Oh, really?
Don't challenge Jupiter. Jupiter's queen.
Yeah, she does tend to beat me at everything, basically, so...
Okay. I am enjoying the use of the word meditative in your next game.
The next game is Frugal Funa. I don't know how to say it. It's a meditative bird flying game. This game had the best booth at Gamescom by far. If I was giving out booth awards, I'd give it to them. It's available on the 14th of September. I've spoken about it before, but I got to play it firsthand and I loved it. It's a relaxing sort of experience where you fly this bird around this procedurally generated beautiful world, and if you stay close to other animals, you turn into them and you take on their properties and get to do what they do. So like if you become a monkey, you obviously can't fly, but you can kind of monkey around. I don't know. So you're like a shape-shifting bird. Experience the thrill of flying as you explore the natural beauty of the vast voxel world, discover hundreds of unique animals whose characteristics you can absorb. Feel free as a bird as you make your own adventure. So this game kind of relies on you to just do your own thing. It's a sandbox-style game where you can create the story. It's very beautiful. It's very beautifully made. The booth was amazing. I'll insert some pictures in the video of how amazing this booth is. It was such a nice experience to be able to play it almost in this environment of a bird. They had like voxel clouds sort of cut out, and they had, I don't know, it was just beautiful. All of the animals felt like they were really living in the world. I felt like I was really exploring a living world. I felt like I was discovering stuff. It was great.
Yeah, I was looking at the page for that, and like I say the GIFs they've got there showing off the bird flying around. Some really lovely scenery there.
So lovely. So lovely. So relaxing. Very good game.
I kind of feel like I want to get that.
It's really, really nice to dive into. The music's beautiful as well.
I'm a really big fan of meditative games. Like, I love everything.
The Almost Gone. We're moving on to The Almost Gone.
Oh, gosh.
The Almost Gone is a narrative game of exploration and mystery where a little girl must understand her own death, allowing herself and others to pass through to the other side. The Almost Gone is an isometric, pastel, point-and-click adventure that can be played on mobile devices. I've judged it for the big indie pitch in the past, but I got the chance to really sink my teeth into it at Gamescom. I love this game. It's beautiful. You explore this house and you know something's off. And you know that despite this beautiful world, something's wrong. And it resonates with you. And as you explore, you start to see these like adult hints towards like a brokenness in the house. You start to see cracks here and there, and you start to interact with these cracks and solve little puzzles to make the cracks bigger. And what you're doing is you're exploring the story of your death. And it's quite sad in that way. And I don't know, I didn't express this to the developers well enough when I was speaking to them, but I found that because things were very open, because things were very relatable, a lot of the stuff and the emotion that I tacked on while playing the game was based on my own experiences. And I found that made the game more powerful, having such a connection to such simple things in the game. And it goes so beyond this one little girl's story. After you let her pass on to the other side, you sort of explore a new world, and it's another beautiful pastel world full of kids' toys and full of like nice things. And you find that that's actually another story of some people who have died, and it's just exploring these sort of stories of death in a very innocent way. And it's so beautifully done. The puzzles are not frustrating. They feel nice. They feel natural. The little hints at stuff feel right. Everything feels right. The movement in the way that you can switch the room around feels correct. It won the big indie pitch for the PC version of games. This one at Gamescom, and the other one it like placed in like third or something. But I don't know. It's a game that kind of settled into my heart and is there to live.
Aww.
I really just, I don't know. I love it. I love the game. They gave me a poster. It's on my wall. I love the poster. It's an experience. It really is.
I love the devs. The name of the devs. Happy Volcano.
Happy Volcano. Yeah, that's great.
I want to be a Happy Volcano.
Happy Volcano playing a game about death.
Yeah. As much as the theme is quite dark, the art is gorgeous. The palette is it's making me feel so relaxed, actually.
Mm. Yeah, you don't understand at first that the game's about death. You really don't. You're just exploring this house, and it's beautiful. And then things go wrong.
I'm excited for that. You've got some great games from Gamescom.
I found so many good games. Good games. Lastly, I want to talk about Pode, I think is how you say it. This was a game down in the business area. So was the last game I mentioned, but this one was in like the Unity section, so it wasn't like an out-facing game. My friend showed me it because they thought I'd love it, and I did. It's Pode is the story of a little rock helping a fallen star find its way home, traveling through the inside of a giant mountain. They breathe life into an ancient sleeping world and explore the ruins of a long-lost civilization. Pode is a co-op puzzle adventure built around the themes of friendship and cooperation, focusing on positive actions in a relaxing atmosphere. So you can play this game single player or local co-op. Single player or co-op. I don't know if it's local, but we played local. I played it with Lewis, and he played the rock character, which can grow crystals, and I played the light character, which can grow flowers. You can switch simultaneously between these two characters. The light person can light up different things that will help you solve puzzles. The rock person can go inside the ground, like inside tunnels he can fit, and can do stuff like that. It's a beautiful game. It's meant to be played with families or with couples. So the interesting thing about this game is if I'm playing with my young daughter, let's say I have a daughter and we're playing, and she doesn't understand a puzzle, I can switch between the two characters and solve the puzzle on my own, and she could just run around like growing flowers and crystals everywhere and just exploring the area.
Oh.
And I thought that's a really nice way to get young kids involved in a game complex enough for an adult. Like, you could totally, it's not boring, the puzzles aren't boring, but you can help a child through it, so it's not too challenging for a child. They're preoccupied while you do the puzzles. The graphics were beautiful. There's so many little details in this game. Like, there are small cutscenes, and in the cutscenes, like, if I'm the light person, I walk through to the next level before the rock person, my character turns around and, like, beckons him forward and waves at him and grabs his hand and walks with holding his hand through the doorway. And there's just so many little touches. The models are 3D models, but they're hand-painted, so like the leaves of the flowers look beautiful. It's such a stunning game, and as you grow the world, as you bring life to this fallen star, it's so nice. It's so relaxing and lovely. And the puzzles, some of them are super challenging, but you can get through it. It doesn't feel frustrating. I just found it to be a great overall game. None of it has explicit, like, you need to do this. Instead, they have, like, pictures on the wall that you light up to tell you what you need to do. And I found them to be effective and useful and not, like, blatantly telling me what to do, which was quite nice.
I love the style. It looks so cute.
Mm.
And the fact that it's made for playing with couples or family is just adorable.
Mm-hmm. It's very cute.
Yeah, the fact that you can jump in as well is interesting idea, actually, because, you know, Portal 2 is an interesting case study of co-op, because although it's about helping each other and you have quite endearing characters you play as, I don't know if you guys have ever played with someone, but it can be quite infuriating to do Portal 2 co-op. So it's interesting to see how they're doing it in a way that it's not infuriating, and it kind of just... the fact that you don't get it isn't the end of everything.
No, you can just grow stuff while the other person figures it out.
Yeah.
No, it's a really beautiful game. But yeah, those are my picks from Gamescom. There were tons of awesome games I didn't get to look at. There were tons of games that also probably should have been on my awesome list, but these were the whittled down. If you held me at a stake. Really, I could talk for ages about all of the games I saw, but these ones really stuck out in my mind as being like wonderful picks from the event. And I'm so glad I went to Germany. It was really, really a great experience. And yeah, that's that. I didn't play any AAA games apart from one, so it was a very good event for me. But Joe, I heard that you went to Insomnia.
I did. I've been going for the past couple of years. Helping out a friend with his game, usually just hanging around the indie area. And this year I managed to go around. I came back with 9 business cards.
Wow.
Because I started networking this time rather than just being there and faffing about.
Networking's always good.
Yeah. Networking is always a good idea. And so I met some really cool people, and two of the games are from sets of people who, well, one is from a set of people I thought were really interesting, the other one was, I thought the game was really cool. So first one is Exposure from Drift Games. Drift Games are based near me, actually. They're near Sheffield, and they have been working on their title called Exposure, which is using photography to build mechanics for solving puzzles.
I've seen a couple of games that do this, but not in the same way that this game does, because this game looks very realistic. I've seen some games that are cartoonish that use sort of exposure and long exposures to solve puzzles, but this looks like a step up from that.
Yeah, so Exposure and Long Exposure is the main one. They said that they're looking into doing looking at different ways of doing photography that they can incorporate into puzzles. They have the main thing about it is that there's a supernatural element to it, and I played it and it was really gorgeous. It was actually a fantastically rendered game, and they kind of managed to make a little area that reminded me of kind of like the Yorkshire Dales and the Lake District. And it was just like a nice area to go around, and although it was supernatural, it wasn't as if it was terrifying. It was kind of like, oh, these are kind of cool. You get to just wander around this area and use your camera, and yeah, and I thought it was a cool concept as well, because honestly, I hadn't heard it before, but I should check out those games that you have seen before.
I saw one at Develop recently that was a bit buggy, but it was sort of a cartoon-esque game where you have a camera and you use the camera to sort of draw exposure lines that make platforms so you can get to different areas.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they're more physical manifestations, really. Well, that's cool, yeah. And so, yeah, these are one of the guys I met. The other ones I met was a game called Space Krieg, which I found really interesting. Is basically pitched as a MOBA for controllers. So you have 2v2 games where you have kind of like abilities and you have to try and take out the enemy's command ship. I didn't manage to get to play it much, but it looked really cool, and also I'm a big fan of MOBAs. Also a huge fan of playing with controller, so the idea of being able to play one with a controller is actually very appealing to me, and something I would definitely recommend people have a look out for.
I saw Space Krieg at the Big Indie Pitch at Brighton at 1.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. It was also at Brighton Showcase, the little showcase area. But I didn't get the chance to play it really myself either, unfortunately.
I feel bad. I wish I did play it, but it looked really cool. Hopefully I might be able to even speak to the devs at some point as well, which would be nice.
Yeah. The devs are We Heart Dragons.
Yeah.
They've made a couple of games.
I've not actually seen the previous games, so I might have a look at some point.
They made Glimpse Quest Chronicles, which was soft launched and then released in July.
Okay.
That's the first game I saw from them. It was a game that they were showing at events inside a book, and I thought that was super, super interesting.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it was a cool display.
Yeah. Oh, I can see it. I've just got a picture up of it now on their site. Anyway, in terms of stuff to look out for, Crypt of the Necrodancer developer announces their next project, which is a sci-fi city builder. So Brace Yourself Games, developers of Crypt of the Necrodancer, announced its upcoming title, Industries of Titan. And Industries of Titan will be an industrial city building sim/strategy game set on Saturn's moon Titan. Players can design industrial cities which they can grow into metropolis. I guess that's the plural of metropolis. Metropolis, as well as battleships and factories. Players will compete using customization, ships, and political influence for Titan's resources and territory, all while balancing the needs of your workers, your factories, and your buildings to produce a powerful, efficient economy. So that might be an interesting thing to keep an eye out on the horizon.
Yeah, I really like the look of this game. I don't know his actual name, but Sir Karma on Twitter.
I didn't really play Necrodancer.
I own it. I haven't played it. I feel really bad.
Play more games. Have you played it, Kemp?
I haven't actually, no.
Kemp, what events have you been at?
Wait till next month.
Oh.
Yeah, come to EGX, come to EGX.
I'll see you guys there then.
Are you going to be at EGX?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Alright, anyway, Kemp, as you were saying about Crypt of the Necrodancer, something.
Well, I was saying I haven't played that. I was actually commenting on the graphics in Industries of Titan, though. So it's, I don't know his real name, but Sir Karma on Twitter. Don't know if he's done some or all of the graphics there, but Yeah, when it was released, I was thinking this looks very familiar to what he's done, and then yeah, it's him, and I really love the style. I like all the voxel graphics he's done, so it's one I'm looking out for.
Cool.
But yeah, you're saying Crypt of Necrodancer, I believe.
Yeah,
I haven't played that myself.
No, I've heard lots of really good things about it though, and I've had people who tell me I should play it, especially if I'm interested in building music-based games, that it's a really good example of it.
Well, the next thing is something I'm aware of. So it's happened now as you're watching this podcast or listening or whatever. Kentucky Fried Pixels has just released their bundle of games to support developers in Kentucky. So at the time of recording, I don't have the bundle in front of me because it's not out yet. However, they did this last year. They did a game jam, which was a quick 48-hour thing that happened along with some mentoring and some advice. And then after that, they had a month to develop out their proof of concept they made in 48 hours. And then they released it as a big bundle. And basically, it was a big bundle on itch, and it went out for pay what you want, and 100% of the proceeds are divided evenly among the development teams. So this helps the local hub in Louisville, Kentucky that make games. So it's a great way to support all of the independent game developers in Louisville. I think I'm saying that right, Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm a big fan of their little hub. They make super interesting, super cool experiences. And I'm really happy that they're doing this every year and that they're doing it again this year. Some of the games, by the looks of the screenshots, are even ones that were made last year that are just lumped back in again. I'm very excited to pick up the bundle, and I'll probably be doing a video on the bundle as well, showing off the different games that are in it.
Ah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame I can't see anything that they've done previously on the site at the moment, but it's a really cool idea. It's reminding me, especially with the kind of, putting the games together and selling them out, it's almost reminding me of the Game Jam help, which was something that actually started this month as well. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself with jumping to charity, though.
Well, we can jump to charity next, right? That's the next thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of the charity Game Jam help.
Very, very briefly, yes. I had an email about it in my inbox, and I believe we added it to the site.
Okay, well, Help War Child is a charity game jam hosted by War Child UK, where the winner helps to raise crucial funds to support children in war-torn countries. And they've recently started accepting submissions. And you basically have, I think it's you have to make a game in 6 days, and it's got to be no bigger than 50 megabytes and made with Unity. And then what happens is the games get bundled together and sold to raise the funding for helping children in conflict zones around the world. So this is really cool. I don't know if they have a theme as far as I can tell, but the submissions are open from August 1st, 2017 to November 1st, 2017 as well. So it will be interesting to see what comes out of that, and especially, you got to help charity as well.
It's good that game jams are being used in such a positive way and to make such a difference.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept of, putting all the game jam games together for people then buy, and that money being used for charity. It's smart. We'll go to the next one then. So this was one that was quite interesting. Teenagers Charity brings VR to sick kids and the elderly. A California-based non-profit organization called Gamers Gift is bringing VR games to people who might not have access to it, such as elderly people in nursing homes or sick children in hospitals. Dylan Hill started a non-profit while he was still in high school. He was still in high school, and he started a non-profit gaming-oriented charity.
That's intense.
I know. What did I do? I played games. I played Skyrim.
I played games in high school.
I played Skyrim a lot.
I didn't play Skyrim.
I think I mostly played Flash games in high school. It was all we had back in the Stone Age.
Really? I thought you just played marbles on the pavement.
We haven't invented marbles yet.
You invented it, what?
You
So
invented
we hadn't invented marbles yet.
you invented Flash games,
Oh,
but
I
not
see.
marbles.
Yeah, it was a strange time.
Yeah. From what I've heard, it was odd.
It sounds odd from what I'm hearing.
They started running before they could before they could walk even. I'm sorry.
Whatever you're saying, I'm really excited that VRs are being used in this sort of way. I think that I was staying with a guy in Germany, right? Okay, and this guy, his job was to make VR experiences for people who had lost limbs. So if I lost my arm, you could put this VR band on my nub, and I could interact with an environment as if I still had an arm for me to slowly get used to the fact that I didn't have an arm. Down in Plymouth, where I used to live, they're teaching people how to do like surgery on other people and how to do very complicated medical procedures just through VR. And it's mind blowing what VR is doing for people and all of these benefits that we're getting that are just beyond games. So it's great to see that VR can be brought to elderly people who might not have the dexterity, who might not be able to hold controllers or to really get keyboards. They can get stuff out of it too. It's really, really nice to see VR being used in all these different ways.
So are you saying there's an actual, literal surgeon simulator for VR? Not just...
Oh yeah, in Plymouth they've done it. Yeah, they're doing lots of workshops where you can go and do heart surgery through VR, like actual heart surgery precisely.
Oh, okay, so they haven't just put surgeon simulator up on
No,
VR.
they haven't just put surgeon simulator on VR. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
No, they
Hey.
haven't.
No, that would be funny and terrifying. No, but you're right. It's crazy how technology. I'm just imagining, imagine doing it with AR though. It's like, you got far more. I don't know if you could get actual physical more haptic feedback rather than just vibrations. But imagine being able to do it with AR that you didn't have to set up all your whole VR setup, and you just had this headset for augmented reality where you could literally say, okay, this is the table I want to do the surgery on. You start a surgery that you could practice or whatever.
Is there a real patient in this scenario?
No, we don't really cut anyone off.
I mean, no, it's probably not. It probably wouldn't work well with someone there. I mean, you could do it.
They do similar things in real surgeries, don't they? With the computer sort of guiding them with the augmented reality. I don't know if they have that deployed in actual hospitals, but I know they were playing with that at some point.
That'd be a very good idea. It's almost like having a heads-up display of what you're doing. You could even have like an objective list. Primary objective, replace heart, and then you have a mini-map of the body. I'm really gamifying it at the moment. I don't think you really need to gamify surgery. I think surgery is, pretty intense and doesn't really need too much more information.
No, they probably want to get it successfully done anyway without the gamifying.
Yeah, they probably do.
Plus 100
swiftly
points.
Moving on. No, swiftly moving on. Do you want me to read the last one?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Bungie and Games Done Quick is supporting Hurricane Harvey relief. So if you didn't know, there was a giant hurricane in the south of America which flooded tons and isn't good. And Games Done Quick and Bungie are doing some stuff to support that. So VG247 reports that Bungie is calling for Destiny players to donate towards relief efforts by offering them a special in-game customization. The studio has created a special commemorative pin badge from which all profits will be given to Direct Relief, which is providing aid for Harvey victims in Houston, Texas. Meanwhile, Games Done Quick is organizing a weekend charity stream called Harvey Relief Done Quick. Polygon reports the group is inviting speedrunners to come participate in broadcasts that will kick off Friday, September 1st at 8 p.m. ET and run along the same time on Sunday, September 3rd, calling for donations from viewers throughout the event. And they've also teamed up and done a shirt, which is beautiful, that they are selling, and all of that money also goes towards Hurricane Harvey relief. It's Games Done Quick and the Get Tea who are doing it together. So $4 for every sale will go directly to those in need of the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey from the $12 shirts.
I like that shirt.
Well, the shirt's really nice, actually.
I haven't actually seen this shirt. I have to look now.
Tempted to get it.
It's Texas, but made with consoles all inside of it, and console wires are the outline of the shape.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, super adorable. So yeah, it's great that they're coming together and sort of aiding this horrible hurricane, this horrible natural disaster that's taken homes from people and lives from people and made people sort of apart from each other. It's good that some organizations are really snapping back and doing some good very fast.
Yeah, it's always good to see the industry doing charitable things.
And that is the end of the charity segment of this show. So we're moving on to just some other bits of news.
Yep. So I don't know if we really want to spend too much time on this, but I thought we'd just, go over it because it's a studio that's went from, being kickstarted to independent development and now has a publisher. So Compulsion Games started a Kickstarter a while ago called We Happy Few, and the game, it's a procedurally generated dystopian thriller, has loads of vibes on BioShock, almost very Orwellian, and on the 17th of August, Gearbox and Compulsion Games announced that Gearbox will publish We Happy Few, and with Gearbox's help, they've managed to significantly expand the scope of the game by building out the narrative and adding more locations, quests, and weapons. As a result, the studio now plans on releasing a retail version and bringing the game to the PlayStation 4, and also comes with the AAA price tag going up from $30 to $60. I backed this game on Kickstarter actually, and have been following it from alpha to now. I think it must have been in development for probably about 2 or 3 years at this point, and it's come a long way, and it's still a really cool concept. And so it's interesting to see, them going from humble beginnings of, getting kickstarted. Probably one of the first few video game Kickstarters to do really well, and now has managed to find a publisher from which to increase and expand their scope of the game, because, to be honest, it had quite a big scope anyway, especially narrative-wise. And the ability to be able to bring it out even more is quite, I'd say, is good, because the story and the universe behind it is really interesting.
I've seen some bits and pieces of this game, and it looks sort of creepy, but not creepy, and I don't really know how I feel about it. But it definitely looks very interesting. Like, interesting and unusual is how I'd describe it. It's great to hear that they're getting a publisher and able to do even more with it. It's great that games are able to, with help, provide a bigger experience and more of an experience, and just widen the scope of their projects in a way that's comfortable for them as well as their studio.
I'm hoping that it will mean that they get to build a better game in the end, really. That's what I hope for it.
But yeah, the last thing that we're going to talk about this month is actually last month's Video Game Look Club.
Yes.
So Kemp, do you want to talk about it?
I can do. Speaking of games that got a publisher. So the game last month in the Video Game Look Club, for those who don't know, it's basically I guess it's a club where we choose a game each month that maybe didn't get as much attention as it could have done. We play the game, talk to people about the game, basically just try to get some interest in it. And the game last month was Rex Another Island by Soft. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Mm-hmm. And basically, because of us all talking about the game, someone from Pixel Jam Games saw it, really liked the look of it, and offered to act as a publisher for it. So it's getting a new release as an expanded game. Pixel Jam Games, they've done a bunch of games previously. The only one I know about myself is Nova Drift, which is one that I kickstarted. One of their people worked on the sound and production for that. But yeah, that's a really good outcome for the Video Game Look Club.
It really is. So the Video Game Look Club has picked out their game for this month, the month of September. And the game is Legacy of the Elder Star. It looks like a pretty cool shooter. I've played a little bit of it, released a video on it, and it's really beautifully done, quite fun to play. The color palette to the graphics are lovely. The bosses feel challenging, but they're not too hard. They're not too difficult. And it's a really nice game that you can pick up for $5. I'd suggest giving it a look and checking out the Video Game Look Club.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, look forward to seeing that one.
Yeah, it looks like a super interesting game. I can't wait to play it and make a video of it and tweet about it. But it's really great to see that this little idea that a few people had has grown to be such a helpful and fun and exciting resource. And they have like a Discord where you can chat with them about the game and everything. And they've got, they provide gifts that you can share the game and have some gifts to share with it so that it gets more traction on Twitter. And it's such a nice community at this point and such a nice community feel.
Yeah, and I mean, what a first month. Can't get any more successful than that, to be honest.
So that's great. Very good. Good. That's all that's in the news for this month. So yeah, if you have any news points or anything that you'd like to talk about, you can join our Discord and drop it in some of the channels there and bug us about the next episode and give us feedback on this episode. If you're listening to this on iTunes, you should probably rate us on iTunes. I don't really know how any of iTunes works, but I'm sure ratings are great. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, hello. SoundCloud does have ratings. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hi. I don't know, enjoy the video. I don't know how wrap-ups work. But I hope you enjoy the visuals. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And if you have any feedback, let us know. If you want to find me, I'm at Jupiter_Hadley on Twitter. If you want to find Kemp
Plays.
Awesome. At Kemp Plays. And if you want to find Joseph, you are?
At Hesketh Joseph.
Perfect. Do you guys have anything else to add?
No, it's been another good month for indies.
Yeah, it has been a good month. Next month is EGX. We're all going to be at EGX. So if you're at EGX, come say hello. I'll have stickers. Ask for a sticker. I have tons of them.
I'll have hugs.
I won't have hugs. Don't hug me.
I'll do it instead.
So is next month going to be basically all three of us recapping what we liked at EGX?
Yes.
Potentially. I mean, I will get some news in and stuff, but yeah.
Cool. Look forward to EGX coverage next month. Thank you very much for watching and liking and subscribing and commenting and doing whatever you do on the various platforms that you're listening to this on. Bye.
Bye.